A city with 5,000 residents, its own world-class hospital, a nuclear power plant, and a private airport. Now, imagine that city is made of 100,000 tons of steel and is currently moving across the Pacific at 35 miles per hour. This is the reality of a Nimitz-class aircraft carrier. Most people only see the jets and the flight deck, the show. Today, we're going down. Into the abyss. Into the places where the sun never shines and the walls never stop vibrating. Welcome to the world beneath the waterline. What you see on the surface is just the tip of the iceberg. Those viral videos with titles like "What's Down There Will Shock You" aren't entirely lying, but they miss the point. The truth isn't supernatural, it's mechanical. There are no secret rooms in the sense of a haunted mansion, but there are thousands of restricted ones. These are the arteries of the beast, places where the air is thick with the smell of jet fuel and the hum of high-voltage transformers. To understand the ship, we have to look past the shock and see the genius of human engineering. The scale of a Nimitz-class carrier is hard to grasp. If you stood it on its end, it would be as tall as the Empire State Building. Below the waterline, the ship is a 10-story labyrinth. There are over 3,000 compartments, ranging from massive hangars to closets no bigger than a phone booth. Even sailors who have lived on board for years can get lost trying to find a shortcut through the lower decks. It is a three-dimensional puzzle where every square inch is utilized for war, survival, or life. Deep in the belly of the ship, encased in layers of specialized steel and radiation shielding, lie the two nuclear hearts, the A4W reactors. These aren't just engines, they are the ship's soul. They provide the electricity for a small city and the steam for 4 massive propellers. We are talking about 260,000 horsepower. This isn't just power, it's total energy independence. These reactors are the reason a carrier can sit off a coastline for months, projecting power without ever needing to plug into a grid. Because of these reactors, the carrier has an almost supernatural endurance. It can sail for over 20 years without ever pulling over for gas. The only thing that limits its time at sea is food for the crew. The engineering required to keep a nuclear fire burning safely in the middle of a storm-tossed ocean is perhaps the greatest achievement of 20th-century naval architecture. It's a quiet, vibrating power that most of the crew never actually sees, but everyone feels. The engine room is a world of high-pressure steam and roaring turbines. This is where the nuclear heat is converted into movement. Adjacent to the reactors are the main machinery rooms. High-pressure steam spins massive turbines, which in turn spin 4 bronze propellers, each 21 feet across. The heat in these rooms can be intense, reaching over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and the noise is a constant, low-frequency roar that you don't just hear, you feel it in your teeth. Navigating the ship is a challenge. Miles of narrow, identical corridors called P-ways connect the different sections. They are utilitarian and filled with pipes color-coded for their contents, gold for sewage, purple for jet fuel, blue for fresh water. In a general quarters drill, these hallways become a frantic dance of damage control teams and sailors rushing to their battle stations. There are no elevators for people here, you climb ladders, steep, narrow stairs that require a specific technique to navigate at speed. Every hatch you pass is a potential lifesaver. Watertight integrity is the ship's real armor. Every few yards, you encounter a heavy steel hatch. These aren't just doors, they are seals. If a torpedo hits the hull, the goal isn't to stop the water, it's to trap it in one room so the rest of the ship stays dry. Living on a carrier means constantly stepping over knee knockers, the high steel sills of these doors. It's a physical reminder that you are on a vessel designed to survive a hit and keep fighting. In the event of an emergency, these steel doors turn the ship into a honeycomb. The hidden nature of these spaces is by design. By dividing the ship into thousands of small, sealable boxes, the Navy ensures that no single catastrophe can sink the entire vessel. This compartmentalization is why these ships are considered virtually unsinkable by conventional means. It's a design philosophy written in the blood of sailors from previous wars. One of the most surprising hidden locations is the medical department. Tucked away in the middecks, it feels entirely disconnected from the warship. This isn't a first aid station, it's a 53-bed hospital ward with its own intensive care unit. If a sailor on a nearby destroyer gets appendicitis, they are flown here. The carrier acts as the medical hub for the entire strike group, providing a level of care that rivals many mid-sized cities on land. The surgical suites are floating miracles of technology. They are mounted on specialized dampeners to minimize the vibration of the ship's engines, allowing surgeons to perform delicate operations even while 30-ton jets are being catapulted just a few decks above. It is a sterile, quiet sanctuary in a world of grease and salt. Here, doctors can perform everything from emergency trauma surgery to routine procedures, ensuring the crew stays fit for the fight. Beyond surgery, there's a full dental clinic, an X-ray lab, and a pharmacy. Why? Because you can't just call an ambulance in the middle of the Indian Ocean. Every possible human emergency has been planned for and tucked away in a steel room somewhere beneath the hangar bay. From blood banks to physical therapy, the medical wing is a testament to the Navy's commitment to its most valuable asset, the sailor. Feeding 5,000 people 3 times a day is a logistical miracle. The S2 division is responsible for serving about 18,150 meals every single day. To do this, the ship has massive refrigerated reefers that hold enough food to feed a small town for months. We're talking about thousands of gallons of milk and tons of frozen meat, all stored in the belly of the ship. The logistics of the kitchen, or galley, are as complex as the flight deck operations. Water is the lifeblood of the ship, and you can't drink the ocean. Deep in the machinery spaces, the ship's distilling plants turn salt water into over 400,000 gallons of fresh water every day. This water is used for the reactors, for washing the salt off the jets to prevent corrosion, and for the thousands of showers taken by the crew. It is a constant, invisible process that makes life in the middle of a saltwater desert possible. Morale is key to survival on a long deployment. That's why you'll find surprising comforts like a Starbucks-affiliated cafe, a library, and a ship store. These hidden spots offer a brief psychological escape. When you've spent 3 months without seeing land, a hot latte or a new book can be the difference between a functional sailor and a broken one. These spaces remind the crew that they are still part of the world they are out there to protect. Where do sailors rest? The berthing areas, known as coffin lockers, are a study in minimalism. Imagine a room filled with 60 to 100 people, sleeping in triple-stacked bunks. Your entire private world is a bed and a small drawer underneath it. There is no privacy, and the lights are rarely all off. It is the ultimate test of patience and communal living, where you learn to sleep through the sound of catapults and the snoring of 50 other people. At the very front of the ship, the anchor room shows raw mechanical power. Known as the forecastle, this area houses the massive hydraulic motors that control the anchor chains. Each link of the chain weighs over 100 pounds, and the anchors themselves weigh 30 tons. When the anchor is dropped, the sound inside this room is like a continuous earthquake. It's one of the most raw, violent displays of power on the entire vessel, and it's hidden away in the bow. Deep below the waterline are the magazines, the ship's lethal arsenal. This is where the bombs and missiles are stored. They are kept in highly climate-controlled rooms with advanced fire suppression systems. Massive ordnance elevators bring these teeth up to the hangar deck when it's time to arm the aircraft. It is perhaps the most heavily guarded hidden place on the ship, for obvious reasons. Millions of gallons of JP5 jet fuel are stored in specialized pumping stations. These fuel lines are among the most dangerous places on the ship. The ventilation systems in these areas are completely separate from the rest of the ship to ensure that fuel vapors, which are highly explosive, never reach the living quarters or the reactor spaces. It is a silent, high-pressure world that fuels the air wing's fury. Even in the middle of the ocean, the law applies. The brig is the ship's jail. It's a small, stark, steel-walled room that serves as a reminder that military discipline is absolute. While most sailors will never see the inside of it, its presence is a necessary part of maintaining order in a city of 5,000 young men and women. It is one of the few places on the ship where self-sufficiency includes the justice system. The machine shop is where sailors become inventors. If a part breaks on a 40-year-old ship in the middle of the sea, you can't always wait for a delivery. The machine shop and foundry allow the crew to carve parts from raw steel or cast new valves from scratch. It is a place of craftsmanship and old-school engineering, proving that even the most high-tech ship in the world relies on basic mechanical skill. The chapel offers a rare commodity on a warship: absolute silence. Tucked away from the noise of the corridors and the vibration of the engines, it's a multi-faith space used for religious services and private reflection. In the belly of a war machine, it is the most human room there is. It's a place where sailors go to find peace when the pressure of the mission becomes too much. Waste management is a constant, unglamorous battle. With 5,000 people, the amount of trash generated is staggering. Massive pulpiers and compactors process everything. Food waste is ground up and discharged, while plastics and metals are compressed into heavy slugs to be offloaded at the next port. It's a dirty, smelly operation that is essential for keeping the ship sanitary and environmentally compliant. The laundry room never stops. Thousands of uniforms, sheets, and towels pass through these industrial machines every single week. The heat and humidity in this part of the ship are legendary, often making it the most uncomfortable place to work. It's a hidden world of steam and sweat that keeps the crew presentable and the ship from becoming a health hazard. Fitness is a requirement for naval service. Since there's no place to run on a deck filled with moving jets, sailors turn storage bays and empty corners into heavy-duty gyms. Lifting weights under exposed pipes and vibrating steel beams is a common sight. It's a gritty, industrial way to stay in shape, but it's the only option when your world is 1,000 feet long and made of metal. The nerve center of the ship is tucked away behind cipher-locked doors. This is where the servers and communication hubs live. In the modern age, the hidden battle is electronic. These rooms are kept freezing cold to protect the massive computers that process radar signatures and satellite transmissions. It is the brain that coordinates the brawn of the reactors and the air wing. The officer's wardroom offers a bit of comfort, but space is always limited. Even for high-ranking officers, life on a carrier is a life of the compact living. Carpeted floors and better food service are the only real luxuries. On a carrier, rank might give you a slightly larger room, but everyone is still living in a steel box, breathing the same recycled air. The ship is a living organism that is constantly trying to rust. Maintenance is the silent, never-ending task. There is always a crew somewhere deep in a tank or behind a bulkhead, chipping paint and applying primer. The ship is a constant battle against the corrosive power of salt water. The hidden truth is that without this constant grooming, the ship would be reclaimed by the sea in a matter of years. The psychological toll of living in the steel abyss is the silent struggle. Many sailors go days without seeing the sun, living under red or blue lights that simulate day and night. The hidden places aren't just physical, they are the mental spaces sailors go to survive the isolation. The resilience of the crew is as much an engineering feat as the reactors themselves. So, is it shocking? No. It's impressive. When people use the word shocking to describe the lower decks, they are selling you a fantasy. The reality is far more interesting. It is a triumph of organization, a masterpiece of engineering where 5,000 people live inside a 100,000-ton machine that never sleeps. The real secret of the aircraft carrier is the human spirit that keeps it all moving. Thanks for joining us in the depths. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next mission.